When Shefe and the spirit of Warai speak together, it is not merely unsettling, it is a horrifying manifestation of supernatural power and authority. Shefe's voice carries its unusual human cadence, but layered beneath it is the deep, distorted resonance of Warai's spirit, a voice steeped in malice and authority that reverberates with the unmistakable presence of dark power. The two voices intertwine like a haunting symphony, one grounded in mortal resolve, the other an echo from an abyss of primal wrath. The mere sound of them together is enough to freeze blood and silence all who hear. While the spirit of Warai never controls Shefe, it lurks at the edge of his consciousness, offering counsel laced with malice, always tempting, always waiting. Shefe remains in control, but the constant vigilance required to resist Warai's influence is no small burden. Even the strongest of minds would falter under such pressure. One fateful day, Shefe attended a church service in a distant land. The congregation had gathered in earnest reverence, yet the atmosphere within the church was stifling, polluted by falsehoods. The pastor, a charismatic but deceitful figure, was speaking heresy, twisting scripture to suit his agenda and misleading the flock entrusted to him. It was in this moment of brazen dishonesty that Shefe's patience snapped. With an authority bestowed upon him by the divine, Shefe rose, his wrath ignited. His voice echoed through the sanctuary, firm yet chilling, as he began to rebuke the false teacher. But then it happened. Warai's voice joined his, a distorted guttural growl that drowned in the air with its ominous power. The combined voices filled the room, booming like thunder, commanding attention with the weight of a storm bearing down on the earth. As Shefe spoke, a dreadful transformation overtook the church. The air grew thick and oppressive, and an unreal red aura enveloped the building, casting the congregation into a hellish twilight. Outside, crimson lightning forked across the sky, striking the steeple with deafening roars. The ground trembled beneath their feet as if the earth itself recoiled from the wrath and now filled the sanctuary. The church's windows and doors sealed themselves with an unholy force, trapping the terrified congregation inside. Desperate attempts to escape were thwarted as Grignons, stark and menacing creatures loyal to Shefe, emerged from the shadows, pushing back anyone who dared to flee. Their sinister forms radiated malice, their glowing eyes unblinking as they enforced Shefe's unyielding will. Shefe's eyes blazed with an intense white-hot light, piercing through the darkest like divine torches of judgment. His left arm, infused with the power of Warai, became ensnared in a pulsating web of crimson energy that crackled and hissed like a living entity. The aura of wrath intensified, and Warai's horrific laughter erupted through the sanctuary, a chilling sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was the laughter of an ancient predator, savoring the terror of its prey. The false teacher was struck dumb with fear, his knees buckling as he collapsed before Shefe, but mercy was not to be found. With a voice that trembled the very foundations of the church, Shefe pronounced his judgment. He cursed the heretic, stripping him of his ability to speak lies ever again. The man's tongue split in two before the eyes of the congregation, a grotesque and painful reminder of his deceit. One of his eyes was blinded, clouding over with a milky whiteness, leaving him half in darkness, an eternal mark of spiritual blindness. The congregation watched in abject terror, their hearts pounding as they bore witness to the wrath of Shefe and the power of Warai. Some clung to their pews, trembling, others wept openly, their tears mixing with prayers for forgiveness. The oppressive atmosphere bore down on them, a relentless weight that made it difficult to even breathe. When Shefe's fiery rebuke concluded, the supernatural forces that had gripped the church began to dissipate. The red lightning faded, and the malevolent aura withdrew like a receding tide. The air became lighter, but the memory of the event lingered, etched into the hearts of all who were present. As a final warning, An ominous message appeared at the wall of the auditorium, burned into the wood by an unseen hand. The words glowed faintly, pushing with an eerie red light. "Beware. Continue in heresy, and the great evil shall return." It was a dire ultimatum, a promise of unimaginable retribution should they dare to defy the truth again. The congregation left the church that day, forever changed. The pastor, now a broken and silent figure, was a living testament to the consequences of deceit and heresy. The fear that gripped their hearts was not merely the fear of man or punishment, but a deep, soul-shaking terror of the divine wrath that had been unleashed before their very eyes. For years, the story of Shefe's judgment spread far and wide, whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to recount it. To many, it became a cautionary tale, a reminder that the truth must never be twisted, and that wrath, when righteous, is a force more terrifying than any earthly power.